Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, June 7th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, and I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candles here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, FFIE, penny stock that had a huge day, big explosion in volume and price movement. So you got to think that a lot of people are watching this one because penny stocks are still relatively popular. So let's map out some levels of support. Then we can talk areas of resistance. So if you're somebody that likes to play more so pullbacks, in my opinion, the interesting level from a pullback standpoint, right down there around that 33-cent mark. You can see the last time the price got down around that area, got a nice little bounce. Does that guarantee that if the price comes down here, that it'll for sure once again bounce? Of course not, no guarantees. But is it plausible? Is it valid to think that the price could bounce off that 33-cent mark if it went back down there? Yeah, that is a plausible thought to have. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy or complicated here. Literally just a question of, well, where did the party finally stop today for the bulls? And that was right up there at 37 cents. So for that reason alone, going to be the main battleground. But overall, the idea of a watch list is to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not randomly rush out and start buying stuff, but to watch it. So in my mind, when you have penny stocks that get huge amounts of volume and essentially go straight up in some senses, that's an interesting situation. And especially if you're a penny stock trader, one certainly worth keeping an eye on. Next one, HOTH, HOTH. For you Star Wars fans out there, just makes me think the planet Hoth. But anyways, that's another topic. But overall, rough day for people that were day traders and were buying right there, or maybe buying right there and wanting to buy and sell in 10 minutes. From that angle, yeah, not a very good day at all. However, yes, the price did pull back the entire day long, but from a big picture standpoint, you'd have to ask yourself, well, what was going on before this pullback? And you had this huge explosion here, which now actually allowed me to draw a bull flag pattern. Now, just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean that it's guaranteed to go back up, but it does make for an interesting situation because, yeah, it started off strong and it's really just pulled back. But right now, if you still believe this is a good, healthy pullback, then, you could very realistically see this thing curling back upwards. Now, does it ever go back up here and retest those highs right there? I don't know about that, but let's say it even only gets up, to that area. Relative to what's being risked, you could be looking at some very ideal, trade plans. So as far as supports are concerned, nothing fancy here, just like the other question from the first one. Just reverse round, where did the party finally stop today for the bears? That was at the 305 mark, so 305 going to be key area of support. Well, right now, it does make sense. I can understand your rationale of, hey, maybe this is over because it's gone sideways. Now, does that mean that it's for sure over because it's gone sideways? If only trading were that easy. But is it at least valid and logical to think that it could be over because it's gone sideways? Absolutely. So keep an eye on that from the resistance side of things. And as far as supports, as far as resistances are concerned, keep your eye up there at the 375 mark. And then again, as far as supports are concerned, 305. But if you like to play pullbacks, then this is certainly an interesting situation. Next one here, NIO, and this will mean more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, or really the past couple, but if you have, you know that I've talked time and time again about that pink line, the 200 period moving average, and no joke, the power of charts. Check it out. Huge bounce. Started off really bad on the day and was going straight up, and what a coincidence, right where the price started to go sideways. Well, wouldn't you know it, right there at that pink line, the 200 period moving average. So you got to think that there's all sorts of people watching that line. And when there are all sorts of people watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So yeah, no doubt about it. You got to think that a lot of people are watching that level. So if the price were to actually break above there, it's valid to think that that break in and of itself could cause the price to go up just because you're going to have a bunch of breakout players then deciding to potentially buy from there. But yeah, in my mind, it's really as straightforward as that. All eyes watching that 200 period moving average. So let's see if the price can actually break through that level and then start to stay above it and gain momentum. Next one, TIO. Absolutely bloodbath today on this one. But what makes the current setup interesting is twofold. First, yeah, big gap down, and then the price essentially just went sideways the rest of the day. Again, as I've already mentioned, just because something goes sideways does not mean that it's guaranteed to be the bottom, but it does at least make it a little bit more rational to think in that way. But the other thing is that late day, you can see a surge in volume, and you can see the price starting to get some green candles. So maybe, just maybe, is this downwards pressure over? Maybe, just maybe, is this the beginning of a bigger move to the upside? Again, to be fair, maybe not. Maybe this thing just rolls right back over, and that's why you want to manage risk, have stop loss, and all that sort of stuff. But to be fair, because that's a two-sided coin, well, I mean, maybe this is the start of a much bigger bounce, and this thing is going to be going up that much further. But that's where we go back to the watch list. You don't randomly rush out and start buying stuff, but if this sort of scenario catches your attention, if you like these sorts of setups, then definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, AMC, which is sort of crazy on this one, and because it's, I mean, yeah, a lot happened today, but not really. What do I mean by that? Well, let's think about the context before going into today. And as I've talked about before, just the sideways channel, back and forth between the red and green line. And then today you can see the price actually did break above it. Unfortunately, could not maintain itself, fell down, fell back below the red line. And then look at this. That red line has gone right back to acting as resistance. So that's what I mean by, well, nothing really new to report. 465, still that level of resistance, as I talked about in yesterday's video. Down there at 450, still the level of, I might have said that. 465, still the level of resistance. I don't remember. Did I call that a support and resistance? But 465, area of resistance, as it was yesterday. And down there at 450, still that level of support. Now, yes, there's the idea here and kind of the new dynamic that it showed some strength by breaking above that level and making the nice move. So you can, keep an eye on these levels up around 475. But from as far as that pattern perspective that we've been, watching and monitoring in terms of the sideways channel, yeah, it broke above it temporarily, but is right down back inside of it. And that 465 mark once again acting as resistance. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'll be offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to manage risk and build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box that you can click on to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, TTOO, and after a very, probably hope-building start on Monday where the price gapped up, made a move up to there. I mean, hopes and dreams have been crushed the past couple days, including today, was a nail in the coffin. How so? Well, I mean, if you just think about it, what was going on before today? Well, before today, the price had at least been holding up above that 9-cent mark. You can see that several times the price was down there and held strong, got the gap up. But as far as this movement was concerned, I mean, you can call this a gap and trap, a pump and dump, whatever you want to call it. But this was a completely dead cat fake move, because not only has the price gone back to where it started, but it's actually now down below where it started again, quote unquote, where it started, being defined as that green line right there. So on all fronts, just a very demoralizing chart here when you consider just, kind of where the price was, how people were probably feeling on Monday morning, and then now looking where things are at. And this is where the first update comes into play, and that update's just based on the basic rule that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So you want to keep an eye on that 9-cent mark if there is any sort of attempted bounce. And then as far as supports are concerned, just that question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at the 7-cent mark. But yeah, overall, like I said, a pretty demoralizing chart when you actually think about the story behind it. Next one, MARA, and what a crazy, in a nice, impressive way, to think that the price gapped down, ran down there, and then after that just slammed on the brakes and went basically straight up the rest of the day. So a very, very crazy looking chart. In fact, that opening candle is pretty crazy right there. But now got to get some things mapped out here, because you got to think that a lot of people have noticed this area up here. Maybe you've already seen what I'm going to be, focused on here. But this general area right here as a key level of resistance. I mean, by using that area, you can see that generally speaking, right around that area. Generally speaking, right up around that area. Right there, directly off that red line. So it's still got a bit of ways to go, but if it can get up there, we'll call that one of those self-fulfilling prophecy points, because you got to think that a lot of people have noticed that general area of resistance, and if the price can get up there and can push up through it, then potential to think that the price maybe gains that much more upside buying pressure. But just really, really mind-boggling when you think about it, to think that this line is all of a sudden relevant when at one point today the price had been all the way down there. So think about that. During the opening 30 minutes, talking about that area would have made no sense, because the price wasn't anywhere close to it. But because of the craziness of today, that level has once again become relevant as we head into Wednesday. Next one, TSLA, and it's just a broken record mode. Once again, higher highs, higher lows on the day. For those of you that watched yesterday's video, congrats for anybody that bought the breakout of that trend line there, as you got a nice little upwards follow through there. Nothing huge, but enough, at least from a trading standpoint, to pull some profits out of the markets. But I'll go ahead and get rid of that line as it served its purpose for now. And really the newest level that you got to think a lot of people are watching, and therefore, we can just call it one of those self-fulfilling prophecy points. You got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle has drawn that line right there. I mean, very straightforward. Simple, high there, and then you look at the, just kind of the grouping of where the price has been rejected from time and time again. So more of the story headed into Wednesday. $21 is going to be that main area of resistance where if the price can break up through there, then, of course, no guarantees, but nobody could accuse you of being illogical to think that a break at 221 would bring in another surge of momentum that would just keep this, uptrend carrying in the, bullish direction there. So keep an eye on that. As far as levels of support, nothing new here to report. Continue to watch that purple line there. That is the 50-period moving average, and then I'll keep that green line down there around the 213 mark as an additional level in case this thing does decide to act human once in a while and pull back. But overall, the uptrend continues. Next one, COIN, had some rough news out today and therefore gapped down, but made a nice little bounce, and it's formed a nice little pattern here, but it really just depends on your view of the pattern, and I can see both longs and shorts viewing this different ways. So you have that area of resistance right here, and you have this area of support right here. And let me change that to green to represent more so the support part of the pattern. And then to make this pattern the same color, or easier to see, let's make it the same color. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the nice bounce right there. So there is a bull pennant pattern here going on if I put the golf down here. But it's really just a question of, do you believe that's a bullish pattern, or because this is in such an environment with downwards pressure? I mean, the trend here over the past couple of days is very clearly down. So do you believe this downwards trend is ultimately going to cause this pattern here to fail to the downside? That's really the question that needs to be thrown out there. Now, some people are going to be saying, no, I believe this is a truly bullish pattern. It's a bull pennant. I believe it's going to get a breakout. I believe this thing's getting ready to reverse back around. And fair enough. There's other people that are thinking, no. Yeah, it's a bullish pattern, but it's occurring. There's a lot of downwards force here. So I think the downwards force is going to push this thing back to the downside. I'm not saying which way is right or wrong. I'm just saying that those are going to be the two, thought processes that are out there, because that is the bullish pattern, but it's occurring in a very bizarre type of context. But in my mind, if you keep an eye on those kind of levels, that could very well lead to some, quality trade setups and quality trade plans. Next, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market is going to rise, then this will also rise. It just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it a very popular ETF. And not a whole lot to say, but I track this one, so want to continue to track it. No, I should take that back. Assuming that you've watched previous videos, you know that I've talked about that green line, and here's the power of charts. So I'll turn this into a quick plug. Get signed up for that free training that I'm offering. But you can see right here, and I promise I did not put that green line in. It's been in there. If you don't believe me, I'm not offended. Just go back and watch previous videos, and you'll see that line's been sitting in there. But price came down here and then has found support beautifully at that green line, and also beautifully at that purple line, which I've been talking about. In fact, if you were to picture that purple line as like a wave and the price is a surfer, look at how the price is just literally surfing on that wave as that wave increases upwards. Now, let me be very clear. If the price does break down below the wave, it's not game over, because you still do have that 36.40 mark. But even if the price were to break below 36.40, still not game over, because from the big picture point of view, very clearly the uptrend is still up. So, I mean, I am talking about things in a very micro standpoint in regards to, talking about that as a wave. But overall, key level of resistance still up there right around the 37.65 mark. And assuming that, the chart, I would say, looks fine, assuming you're not some sort of day trader that bought right there and was plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes. If that was your angle, then yeah, things look bad for you. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, everything is still perfectly fine. Today was just simply a pullback day. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the class. It'll be soon, Thursday, June 8th. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, please do two things for me. Hit the like button and leave a comment below. Those things help out these videos. They help communicate to me that you're enjoying, and as long as I know you're enjoying and finding these helpful and beneficial, I will continue to put in the time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, hit that like button, leave a comment, even if it's just say hi or a ticker symbol that you're watching or a ticker symbol that you traded today. Like I said, that goes a long way. And definitely go get signed up for that free class.